All right, guys, what is up? We got Dirty Mike and Beef here with 4th and 26 Philly Sports. We're doing something a little different tonight. We are going live tonight with this. So hope you guys enjoy the show. I figure we can start off with a little bit of Eagles news like usual. So how do you feel about the recent free agent signings?
Yeah, a couple bumps, man. I'm not going to say that I'm very thrilled with how he's done so far, but it's certainly solid. You never know with the draft coming up what they're expecting. I'm going to give him a solid. I'm going to say B- so far, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe even C plus, like right around there.
I feel like he brought some emotional picks back with like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. I love those guys. They're career Eagles, but I feel like they kind of overpaid for Fletcher a little bit. Brandon Graham took a really team friendly deal. I think he's only making like $6 million this year. That's really low. But, to bring Fletcher back, I don't anticipate he might not even be starting this year, to be honest with you. That seems like a lot for a role player at $10 million a year. But, I feel like they shored up, their secondary some, with bringing back Bradbury and Slay. I don't know. Lane Johnson, they extended him. They got Kelsey back. The offensive line and the offense is still going to be really strong for sure.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I have to say I was a little disappointed with the CJ letting him walk. But, I mean, there's a lot of speculation, Doc, that there was something else going on in the back there. So I'm not 100% up on it, but that's a shame. They couldn't find any way for a 1-year deal. It's really strange, man.
Well, to what I know is they did offer him a multi-year contract, and they turned it down, I guess, thinking that he could get more out in the open market. And I think there must have been some kind of bad blood in those negotiations because, I mean, they definitely could have matched that deal to bring him back. And what was that, like $6-7 million, $8 million?
Yeah, tops. And I think what's fucked up is because you were right. I heard something about how they were trying to get him on a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
And, of course, if that's the case, they'll fucking cut him at the end of year 2.
Yeah.
Now, that's what they all speculate every time, but that's not going to be true. What if we win the Super Bowl? You never know. Like, maybe not next year, but the year after. Of course, they're not going to. I thought it might have been a little rash, but I do understand the cap situation, Doc. We had to really make some moves, man.
Yeah, we do. And you remember, we didn't get him till like August last season. So, it's not over yet. Howie still has the draft to make some deals, wheeling and dealing, plus whoever we pick up in the draft. And then stuff always happens in training camp. Training camp every year, so like some veteran gets cut, as a salary cap, casualty, and they end up cutting them. Somebody else ends up taking their place, and then we end up, can pick them up. So we definitely have a lot of time, but it's definitely putting a lot of eggs in the Reed Blankenship basket. I mean, he played well in absence of CJ last year, but it's definitely putting a lot of eggs in his basket that he's going to be able to be, a full-time starter. But he did flash last year a lot for sure.
Kenny the Reed Blankenship. You know who Kenny Blankenship was? Remember the show MXC, The Most Extreme Challenge, back like 20 years ago they were dubbed over. It was from like Japan, and they had to go through all the obstacles.
I do vaguely remember that. I was thinking some shit like that the other day. I remember I used to wake up when we were roommates in Westchester. I remember you used to watch like this dance competition show where they were like head to head. Do you remember that show?
Oh yeah, they used to do rap. They used to do dance battles. It was so freaking funny.
That show? What the hell?
Oh man, I'm not really 100% sure, but that was funny to watch. And then that's when wrestling started. Right when it was good, and then it started declining. It was right around that time too.
Yeah, it definitely did. But, I'm looking forward to this season, man. I really can't wait till the draft.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So stay tuned, fam. 4th and 26 audience. It's going to be just like tonight. Tonight's a beta test to see if we can't work out the bugs on this. But stay tuned, baby, because that first night That Thursday night, Doc. Oh my God. Woo.
I don't know, man. I feel like there was a lot of hate, at the beginning of the talk of the draft about the Eagles drafting a running back. But are you really happy going into this season with a bunch of spare parts? Now, Gainwell did come on strong, but he's never been even close to a full-time starter. Are you okay with this backfield the way it is?
Well, I got Rashad Penny, right? Over from
Penny, a cheap deal. Yeah, but he's
right.
missed half of the games in his career, but he's averaged like 6 yards a carry. So
Yes, he's over 6. So let's see what he can do behind our line. That's what I'm hoping. And let me tell you, Doc, I know you've been wanting it. The Bijan Robinson train has been gathering some traction up here.
I noticed. I've been listening to WIP. I've been watching some of the Facebook groups, and people are starting to get behind that now. I mean, if you can get somebody that's going to make the offense that much better and possibly score 10, 12 touchdowns immediately in his rookie year, I say you go for it and that'll buy some time until the defense, kind of rounds into shape because, with a lot of new pieces on defense, you can't expect them to just step in and not have any growing pains. So if you can keep the defense off the field and control the clock, I don't see why not.
If they can score, if their philosophy is leaning more on offense this year, I don't have a problem with that. If they can average 30-plus points a game, get out of the 20s, and I'll even take 31 points a game.
That's a hell of a year.
Totally fine with that. And you got to remember, with the extra game, we could get that up there. You know what I'm saying? Especially since our division's kind of a joke, conference is kind of a joke. Luckily, we're not in the AFC, so that's great. But I'm just saying, like, with that coming up, with the draft coming up and having the picks that I know how he's going to pull some crazy shit. I feel he's going to recycle some sort of pick, one of those picks, and we're just going to maybe have, one in the first round and just somewhere it's going to, the other pick's going to come back and maybe either move it to next year or he'll get a couple late rounds this year, which is fine. We'll get some offensive linemen or something. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, here's what I would like to see him do. If Robinson's still there at number 10, I could see him moving back to maybe 13 or 14, getting an additional third round pick for it, and then taking him. Because then you're getting an additional third round pick in addition to it. If you think he's still going to be there a couple picks later, which, he probably will. I've been seeing a couple mock drafts that say maybe the Bears would take him, but I don't think they'll take a running back in the first round. They still need, offensive linemen, but
I don't think I think he'll get taken in the first round. It's just a question where. Yeah,
I think
definitely will.
If the Eagles don't take him, I see him going 18 to 22. I think if the Eagles don't take him, but if we can move back. I mean, this pick was a bonus, Doc.
Yeah.
To get this number 10 pick, which we're not going to get anytime again, hopefully anytime soon. You're free rolling with this pick. You still have your regular first round pick. Why not take one of the best players in the draft, if not the person with the highest upside? Why not?
Now, keeping in mind of the running back situation, I mean, I got a nice hot take for you. There's been word about Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, no, we don't want him.
Why does it always – I mean, we had Orlando Schmendrick, a couple of years ago. We had DeMarco Murray. None of these people work. We need to stop with this. We really do.
We definitely do. I mean, we seem to be a running back by committee team, though. Even when Miles Sanders, was our primary running back last year, everyone else was still getting tons of touches, too. Gainwell was getting the touches. Boston Scott was getting the touches. Jalen Hurts was running it a lot. But – you can't get Jalen Hurts killed this year. He can't be our primary ball carrier this year, like he's been. So that's why I kind of like to see them get Robinson. But, if not, we still have a great and elite offensive line that I think, pretty much anybody will be pretty decent. You and me could probably average 3-4 yards a carry against with their offensive line. But, we'll see. We still got about a month to go. It's going to be a long month for sure.
I could go in. I used to play mean tailback foods. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Ask Big Tone about my tackling.
He might even be watching right now. What's up, Ood?
If you're watching, Tone, sorry about that, buddy. That was
So, but
fun,
let
man.
me tell you, that's another thing they're going to need to be doing. A lot of short fundamentals, man. I want good tackling. I want solid ball reception. I want to make sure if they're going to do running, keep it on the ground, ball management, and I want that first tackler to miss. I want my man to make the first tackler miss, either juke the fuck out of him or just bust right into his fucking chops, foods. But I want to see some nice, churning runs this year.
Yeah, I agree. We can't have Jalen running it like 15 to 18 times a game. We're going to get him killed. He's not going to make it through a full season like that.
Yeah, especially since I don't think the rule came through. I think we're still able to do the quarterback sneak, right?
It is. I did a video on it the other night.
I thought I saw that.
Yeah, the competition committee, they actually didn't end up even putting it on for vote. So I heard some executives saying that if you're so worried about it, you should learn how to do it yourself. I mean, I know Doug Peterson's a proponent of it. He has that in his offense too, and it's a legal play, and it's part of the NFL right now. It's been legal for several years. It's just the Eagles really have, taken it to that next level. But we also have a quarterback that can squat 600 pounds. Nobody else has that.
I was going to say, that's the only reason it's almost a gimme I think it was like 97% effective or something this year. Like, yeah, that's the only reason it was. Yeah, because you saw Gardner. He couldn't do it.
No, he tried to do it and got stuffed. Yeah, it's not just anybody that can do it. I mean, Jalen Hurts, people don't realize how strong he is.
Mm-hmm. You also have to have good timing with your O-line, because that could result in a false start. This shit's not infallible.
It's definitely not. But it's the way we do it. It's a huge weapon.
You just drill it into the line, and you're golden.
And it's not even just like it used to be. A quarterback sneak would only be like maybe a half a yard or like third or fourth in inches. I mean, realistically, they can run that on 4th and 2 confidently and make that 90% of the time, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Even if they pulled that, and then maybe they pulled back and pulled like a move like Doug did against the Chargers in the playoffs, where he pulled he just ran it wide out right to the to Russia, and that's it. He picked up like 10 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's so effective to either fake that and then have Dallas Goedert slip out into the flat for a quick little reception. There's no stopping that. The Eagles offense is going to be incredible next year, and if they get an elite running back, or even if they get Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama, he's a really good running back too. I mean, but if they were to get Bijan, could you imagine what the hell a defense would do on those read options and triple options? Like, who the hell are you going to cover?
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting philosophy, interesting culture next year. So we got that to look forward to. So what do we got next on the docket, my friend?
All right, we got a big Sixers game tonight, and I was really looking forward to this. We were talking about it earlier. This could be Embiid's night to really solidify his MVP against Jokic, and he's sitting out this game.
I could just shake my head now. I understand why. I get it. I think it's a little lame, but it's whatever. What are you going to do? However, this hurts his MVP chance. Now, I'm not saying that he probably won't get considered, but we'll see how this game looks. And, hey, even if they win, even if the Sixers end up taking this somehow, which isn't impossible. Nuggets are the best in the West, but the West isn't the greatest. I mean, shit. We're only one game behind them anyway, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I kind of feel like Doc's packed it in as far as trying to get the number 2 seed. Get off of the Celtics. I feel like but we're only 2 games ahead of friggin' Cleveland, I think. So, we don't want to slip down to the number 4, but, he's definitely resting a lot of players, it seems like. Harden, they kind of beat the shit out of him, and now he's worn down going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it sucks, too, because they were a good road team. Like, they were doing well. I think when they get back, they'll get a nice little jolt of energy. Now, regardless if they get in the top 2 seeds or not, I think that Embiid needs to use this, especially if he doesn't win MVP, and he really needs to come out of like that immature little, you
He
know,
has.
like that little husk that he becomes. I'm not saying that he's not a good player, but if he wants to be championship level material, he needs to rise above that, man. Take charge.
I agree. I mean, the past couple of years, when they've announced that he didn't win, he just went into a shell and he was done. I mean,
Little bubble,
emotionally, he was done. And we can't have that again this year, or else the team's going to get blown up after this year if they go out again in the second round, which it's going to be tough if they don't get, that second playoff series at home. But they are a decent road team. So I just still kind of feel like, even though I feel like they have the best roster in the East, I still kind of feel like they're second banana to the Celtics and the Bucks. I kind of feel like they're that tier, like right underneath them, to where I'm not confident that in a 7-game series they won't shut them down.
That's a shame because the Celtics aren't playing the best ball themselves either. We should really be taking advantage. It's not like we're losing in our conference, but still, it's games, Foods. They've
righted the ship. They went through a bad stretch, but they've righted the ship. I think they've won like 3 or 4 in a row, so they've kind of righted the ship a little bit. And we were hot, man. We were really hot. And
well, let's see how this one goes. What's are you monitoring? What's this? I just got back from work, so I didn't really. I know that the game started 9:30 Denver time, so and that was fun because I was just talking to Ryan, or I have a buddy who lives out that way, and
dude.
Yeah, the dude was telling me about it out there. I mean, not they got a baseball starting out there too, so it's a nice little. I was out there a few years ago. West is beautiful, my friend. It's beautiful out there.
It is. All right, so right now it's a minute 49 left in the first quarter. The Sixers are losing 24-13.
Okay.
So
all right.
Not a good start. They're struggling on offense for sure. Only 14 points with a minute and a half left. So
seems like a low score in general, 24-13 for almost being done the first. You said the first quarter.
Yeah,
right?
first quarter. Yeah, I mean, you got Tobias Harris has 8 points. Maxi's got 3. Niang's got 3. The human decoy PJ Tucker has his customary 0 points. I gotta tell you, that really pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
A waste.
We're talking about it up here.
A starting position, and the dude just doesn't score. I mean, why not? It's like Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, it's not good. They were talking about it up here that it's kind of hampering them getting early starts.
Yeah.
And like you had mentioned, Doc, earlier, there's some question about heart, because obviously they don't want to have a 3-game skid here, but I think coming back, I know they got a few teams that, I know they got the Bucks.
Well, we talked about this. This is a murderer's row. The last 2 games, I think, are winnable, but
the other ones that they got in the middle between them are tough, man.
After this game, they got the Mavs, the Raptors, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Heat, and even the Hawks and the Nets can be tough. So, it's a tough end of the year schedule.
Yeah, definitely going to need some sort of winning record out of that just to stay in, contention.
Yeah, it's you don't want to go into the playoffs like that. Like right now, let me see who they're looking at. So let's say they finish in the number 3 spot right now. Now, they would be looking at most likely either Brooklyn or Miami. I see Miami kind of probably overtaking Brooklyn at the very end of the year here. I don't want to play Miami in the first round of the playoffs. Do you?
I don't think that in a series of 7 we would lose to them, but I certainly don't want to get taken to a point where Embiid's going to be exhausted, if they go 7 games with them or something.
Yeah, I mean, see, the Heat play very good defense, and they're going to keep the score low. And when the score is low, you got Jimmy Buckets on the other team. That's kind of scary at the end of the game.
Plus, you don't want them getting in foul trouble either if they're going to have low scoring, games where they're going to be, trying to get inside the lane, sticking hands in there, blocking shots, shit like that. Speaking of block shots, Foods, how'd you feel about the tournament this weekend? Couple upsets?
Man, I'll tell you, it's crazy. I'm going to pull up the bracket right now, actually. I have it primed and ready for us here.
obliterated brackets.
Brackets?
Damn right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a hell. Let me tell you, this was. I think I hear a lot of people complaining about the quality of 9 and 8 teams winning into the Final Four. But dude, to me, this is what a tournament is about. Shit like this.
It should be. It really should be. It was. Oh man, I'm having a little trouble, but
All right. I'll riff while you're doing it, because I mean, San Diego, like they got Florida Atlantic still in there, and let me tell you, Florida Atlantic, whatever game that is that's coming up, maybe it's not the sexiest Final Four, but I would certainly think it would be hilarious seeing a 9 seed win it, or at least get to the championship game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It was. We talked about this too at the beginning of the tournament about the parity this year, and definitely it's not just the same ones and twos. Like it is usually every other year. You got San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, Miami, and UConn. So no team higher than a 4.
Shit, even Princeton was playing last round. Up until last round when they played Creighton.
Yeah, Princeton played tough.
So, I mean, it just goes to show you that no one team was super dominant, really, this. I mean, a lot of the first, Houston lost. A lot of teams got sent home.
Yeah, it was good. I like to see it. It was the first time in a long time that no number 1 seed, made the Final Four.
Yeah. Do you think that the quality suffers because of this?
I don't think it does personally. I think it's better for it. I'm sick and tired. I kind of tune out when it's the same, when it's the same teams every single, year.
Yeah, watching Kentucky versus Kansas or some shit like that, Duke.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of watching the same 4, 5, 6 teams making the Final Four every single year. So this is good. I like to see Florida Atlantic make it. I mean, that's crazy. They're number 9 seed, a little tiny school in Florida. I'd like to see them maybe make the finals and win it. That would be great. I hate Miami and UConn. For some reason, I've just always hated those 2 schools.
The U?
The U. I just always hate. It doesn't matter what sport either. I just always hated. UConn used to be great in like the 90s, and then the women had that run where they didn't lose for like 8 years straight. So,
oh yeah.
I'm definitely glad. I want to see. I'm definitely rooting for FAU or San Diego State to win this thing. Go
yeah,
out and win.
Well, it was a crazy weekend in general the past couple, rounds. I mean, Creighton only lost by a point. We talked about Houston. I mean, Alabama. Just a whole bunch of teams ate shit. It was great. Fucking great.
Yeah, I definitely love seeing it.
Texas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely love seeing it. And we got 2 more rounds to go, and I think nobody had a perfect bracket after the first day or 2.
I'm not shocked. I think it's funny when they do odds switch. You could do different types of different conference, whatever it is, divisions. Yeah. So I think it's funny because nobody's going to have it perfect. There's always going to be some crazy upset.
I'll tell you what, they were showing like Charles Barkley's bracket and Kenny Smith's bracket. I don't think I've had you could throw a dart at the things and pick a higher percentage. Like I don't. Charles had I think 85% of them wrong. I mean, how do you get that many wrong? I mean, I know there was a lot of upsets, but I guess he just went with all favorites, and there really were a ton of upsets this year.
Let me tell you, there was some good ball played. I mean, there were some close games. There was games that were low, good defensive games. I mean, it was like 57. God, what was the one? I can't think off the top of my head. But, Michigan State, the Spartans, they lost. I mean, when I went to pick up my mother at the airport, some guy had a Spartans jersey on. I was like, my man sitting at the airport sad. I was like, I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's
a lot of teams go home. It's a shame seeing the kids cry, especially for a lot of those seniors or whatever, who are declaring or moving on, graduating. This is it, and you're done.
yeah, it is. But let's get it done. It's been a great tournament so far. So can't wait to see how it finishes up. But I would have liked to have seen a Philly school in it this year. I would like to have seen Villanova or someone maybe get hot and make a run in the playoffs. But we talked
Mhm.
about it last time. There was just nothing this year, unfortunately.
Well, the Villanova girls team, they made it up until this weekend, and then they lost.
Yeah, I wanted to see them go all the way, or at least make it to the Final Four, but they just
They
couldn't
were
get.
winning too. They came back, and
They
then they
did come
lost by
back.
like 5 points or some crazy shit like that. So
Yeah, it was a tough one for sure, but the parity is great. It's great for ratings. I think more people are going to tune in to see what's happening for sure. Um, we got baseball coming up. How you feel about the Phils?
up until that point where Reese Hoskins popped his
Oh,
what did he his ACL? What was that?
yeah, yeah,
It wasn't the Achilles. It was the actual
yeah. It was the
ACL.
ACL. Yeah, I mean
Jesus Christ! Why is it always the snake bitten bullshit foods? Hate to be
yeah.
negative, but
He's just, he's so bad on defense. And I felt like he started to get a little bit better last year. I feel like he took a couple steps, but I mean, when you tear your ACL just, fielding a routine ground ball, he's got to be a DH if we bring him back. But I don't see him. He might miss the whole season.
he's definitely missing the whole season. That's like easy 6 or 7 months right there, easy.
Yeah, I mean, to happen this late, I mean, it's almost April. So even if 8 months, yeah, the season's done at that point. He's done.
Yeah, it's a real shame, and that was boding ill. Not only that, but not getting Nola signed up
Yeah.
for his extension. Now, I mean, he's going to have, depending on how he plays this year, he might have more leverage or less leverage. So I guess it kind of sucks, but I mean, what's this? His sixth start when he gets on the hill. I think they're away in Texas the first game. So
Yeah, I think so.
he's been our starter for years. It's a shame that they couldn't get something done. This plus the knee. I don't know, Foods. It's kind of not getting off to a great start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Phillies are a great team to begin with. They overachieved last season. I mean, let's call it what it was. They got hot, going into the playoffs, and they got even hotter once the playoffs started. They were, hitting the long ball, and they weren't doing much else besides that. They were getting decent pitching. And they definitely overachieved. I don't think it's a stretch to think that they were definitely going to get back to the World Series this year. I think everything would kind of have to align perfectly again for that to happen, and that's with Bryce being healthy and Reese. I mean, you're taking 70 home runs out of the lineup right there, and for a team that relies on the long ball. As much as the Phillies do, to take 70 home runs out of the lineup, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a down year for the Phillies, like a close to 500 record, honestly.
Yeah, it's a shame that all this had to turn out like that because they were looking pretty good at the start. When they were playing the some of these spring training games, they were a little erratic. Sometimes scoring 15 and then scoring 2. So. But they were winning a lot of these games, But I have to say that in a division where we got, great pitchers, good offensive teams, I'm a little worried. I have to say I'm a little worried.
I agree that, the Phillies don't really hit great pitching very well. I mean, they got no hit in the World Series. But, they don't hit great pitching well. They definitely struggle against elite pitching. And, our division, like you said, has a lot of elite pitching. And, they're going to have to claw and scrape to try to stay close to that third wild card. And if they do, you get Bryce back, get people start hitting, there's a chance again. But it's going to be a tough one, Foods, for sure.
So I love that third wild card, man. People poo-poo it.
Yeah, I love it too.
Hey, whatever, man. I think that baseball is one of those sports that, like you said, you get white hot at the end of the season, And
records
you
don't
might not
matter.
be
Yeah,
playing perfect baseball, but your baseball, I mean, playoff baseball is super exciting.
it
Super
is.
exciting. Yeah.
Let's
So nice
let's
being down at the park, Citizens back in on a playoff game. Doesn't even have to be like a late playoff game. First or second one's fine.
Yeah, I miss being close down there with spring training. That was always a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
you're saying that. It does sound awesome.
yeah, spring training was a lot of fun. I'm looking at some of the stats from preseason this year. Uh, Let me sort it by average here.
Mhm.
Do you move Kingery over to first base?
There's a lot of talk of who did they say was very possible? Maybe Schwarber? Someone had mentioned because he played first base once
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't. there's a lot of speculation, food. Some funny, even Boom was suggested. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be against it because Cave is hitting 440. He's had a great preseason, spring training. Cave's hitting 440, and he plays left field as well. So if you were to slide Schwarber over to first base and start Cave, I wouldn't be against that.
Yeah, I mean it's always a possibility. I think they're gonna have to piecemeal this thing together a little bit anyway in the beginning. Thank God National League's got the DH this year. Thank God.
Oh my
I
God, I
know.
know.
Super, super helpful.
Yeah, even if and
Especially here.
maybe you could bring, because Harper's probably going to come back. He's not going to be starting and play in the field, immediately when he comes back. He'll slide to the DH role when he's, able to swing the bat and play again. But I could see him maybe towards the playoffs, start playing right field again. And then if somehow in late September, beginning of October, you could somehow get what's his name back, Reese back to
Reese.
where he could at least bat.
Right.
Not worry about playing in the field, just maybe get him as DH, maybe in October. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, like they said, this is one of those injuries that's going to take most of the year. So it's really going to be one of those things where you're not even going to have to even consider it until like August or September.
We're gonna have to see where he is like in September.
Yeah, I mean that's easily what's that 5 months from now?
Yeah, and that's kind of
this is like a 6 months injury, maybe even more. Whew.
That used to be close to a career ender when when players would do that.
Shit, even when Ryan, I know it wasn't his was a Achilles, but Ryan Howard was never the same. Never the same. Nobody.
Yeah. That was a shame the way it went down with Ryan and his last at bat with us too. That was terrible.
Yeah, it was really I wouldn't say that it was one of he was like instant Hall of Fame material, but man, oh man, 2-3 more years, he might have been.
He needed a couple more years. Ryan Howard needed 100 more home runs. He needed 100 more home runs to get to that possible Hall of Fame level. I feel like he kind of got to the big leagues late. I don't think he got to the big leagues till he was like 26, because strikeouts were always an issue with him. And, he was putting up, I remember, 2-3 years in a row, he's putting up like 40 home runs for the Reading Phils. It's like, come on, bring this guy up. I mean, we know he strikes out a lot, and that never changed. He never changed with that. So if you knew what you were getting with him anyway, you could have got a couple more years out of him.
Yeah, it was a shame, man. He was the big piece, man. That whole team was great. J-Raw, they were so good.
That was like I like to compare the 08-09 Phillies team to the Eagles team of last year. Just for some reason, like the 93 Phils, the 01 Sixers, just for some reason, you just connect with teams. The fans do. And that's why the Super Bowl loss hurts so much for the Eagles and fans, especially because we were so all in with this team last year. We were just so connected with them, and the city was, and just everybody was behind them.
Shit, I mean, we were only 7 or 8 when they played, against Edmonton, and that was a fuck. Oh, that was such a heartbreaker. The Flyers.
I'll tell you what, I was watching the Goldbergs last week, and they covered that. That was like the theme of the episode. It was based around the Flyers against the Oilers. I think they did something to where at the furniture store that if the Flyers won the World Series, everybody would get their won the Stanley Cup. Everybody would get their money back to purchase furniture that month. So Barry was making everybody not change their underwear, only eat orange and black food, and going crazy. And and Beverly was secretly trying to sabotage it. And I think she brought a poison casserole up to the GM of the Flyers to try to give to the team to make them.
That's such a great show, man.
It's ending in a couple weeks, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jeff Garland got fired. Murray, for being inappropriate with staff members and just stuff like that. So they fired him, and then they had to kill him off. And then the last season, they had to just kind of make up storylines for it, since a lot of it was based off of real shit. They killed him off, so they had to kind of end the show.
Let me tell you, we should kill off this Flyer season, dude. You want to put a bow on this motherfucker?
Yeah, it's over. They, it's been over for months. They were abysmal this year. They have won a few games in a row, but, too little too late at this point.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, they shut out Detroit the other day. They won in a shootout against what's-her-face. So, I mean, again, Tortorella can get them to play. It's just how motivated can he get against teams, again, in our division? You got to play, always getting the shit kicked out of against the Bruins
and the Rangers.
Rangers. It's just that shit's annoying. You know what I mean? No talent. We need talent.
Yeah, we don't have the talent to compete for sure. And nobody wants to come to Philly to play hockey. So it's tough. I see the Flyers struggling for a long, long time to come, unless they can somehow hit in the draft with, somebody who ends up being just a bona fide superstar. Then all of a sudden you can get another superstar in. But it goes back to drafting, Foods. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I feel like the talent scouts with all the Philadelphia teams, for the most part, there are a few exceptions. I'll say Jalen Hurts is an exception. I'll say that Devontae Smith is an exception. But I feel like they miss a whole lot.
It's a shame because you can't really argue with it. And then you also think how many times can you go to the free agency well? You really have to.
You have to build
scout. You have to farm. You have to. You have to have trust in your system, because that's the way you build, teams that last.
Yeah, you have to build through the draft. You can't just have mercenaries for hire every year. You can't do that.
Yeah, and exactly like you said. So if you're doing getting your players who are like a sniper or something, how he's going to be expensive. It's a free agent. I mean, he has to find some kid who's just amazing and develop them. But it's tough. I mean, where's the next Forsberg? Where's you never know. Yeah. Where's the next Crosby? He could be in friggin' Finland somewhere. Who the frick knows?
Yeah, you don't know. And I don't think we've hit in the draft really in Philly with the Flyers since Giroux, honestly. And I mean, what's that, like 14, 15 years ago?
Yeah, and I mean,
years ago.
Yeah, and I was there. Like I think I mentioned to our audience, I was there opening day this year, and they looked great. Yeah, I think it was against the Devils. They they won. It was exciting. It's just they tied too many games. I think they tied like 10 or 12 games. Ridiculous. Got that extra point or whatever. Obviously lost shootouts, shit like that. But they just didn't have enough gas. They didn't have like enough talent, enough skill, and games where they should have won a lot, they really got victory snatched from them. Yeah. So where's your heart?
Yeah, Philly wants to be a hockey town. Philly is a hockey town too, and just right now the Flyers are fourth banana. I mean, they're definitely the lowest of totem pole.
And Lord Stanley's Cup should be here, but I don't think, like you said, I don't think we're going to see it at least until they get their act together, shake it up, I mean, firing Fletcher a few weeks ago, it's a start. Too little, too late.
50 years. The Flyers haven't won a Stanley Cup in 50 years.
Yeah, what was it,
Almost
40
50 years,
76,
like
right?
years. I think, like 75. Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
mean,
almost
yeah,
50 years.
75. It was back to back, so it was nice. But but up until then, it was boom.
They were a new team too. I think that was like their second or third year too in the league when they won the Stanley Cup those 2 years in a row. And they had, I'll tell you what, the best Flyers team that they ever had was the one where they didn't win the Stanley Cup when they lost in Game 7 to the Oilers. I think that was the best Flyers team that we ever had. That was
I really liked. That was good, and the '97 Flyers team was really good. That was a shame we got fucking shut out by the Red Wings that year. That was a great team.
Yeah, the Chicago team wasn't bad either. The year we lost to the Blackhawks.
Dude, I still have no idea how that got it through by late. I'll never figure that goal out
either from the side. Yeah, that was bad.
Nah, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just going to make me angry thinking about it. But there you go, fam. That's the Flyers season for you in a nutshell. I think they got, maybe 5 games left, something like that?
Yeah, not much left. And it's been tough. And unfortunately, I think there's some tough years ahead with them, too. They're, like I said, they're going to have to hit on the draft or else they're going to be right in the bottom of the totem pole in Philly. We got some hopes with the Sixers this year. The Phillies, I'm lukewarm on. I wouldn't say I was bullish on them to begin the year, especially with Bryce being out. But I saw them definitely no reason they couldn't compete for the third wild card, maybe get him back and go on another run. But it's tall odds now this year. Not that, Reese was the end-all, be-all, but, 30 home runs, 80, 90 RBIs is tough to replace.
Yeah, they're going to have to everyone's going to have to step up, find other gear. All the pitchers are going to have to try to balance, what they're going to have to do with the pitch clock this year. I know it's going to be difficult, but weird. It's going to be new rules, and and let me make a message to the umps. All you MLB umpires, nobody is coming and paying their hard-earned to see you.
No, they're certainly not. And I was trying to play the Real Muto video today. You'll probably watch it at some point.
Yeah, I'll catch the highlights. It's cool.
But in a nutshell today, I've never seen anything like it. He handed the ball. He handed the ball back to the ump. He was expecting the ump to, throw it back. He had his glove up, waiting. The ump never dropped the ball on his glove. He thought he was, throwing it back to him. He put his glove down as soon as the ump went to drop it in his glove. The second the ball hit the ground, he just turned around and just threw him out instantly.
This is what I'm talking about. What an ego!
What ego? I mean, seriously. Now, are the umps getting super soft like that too? I've always hated umps and, God, Joe West and all those guys. But those guys,
CB, Angel, come on, man.
Those guys used to take a verbal thrashing on a daily basis from umps, from players and coaches. But, they would just sit there. They would take it before they would, throw somebody out. You'd really have to drop the magic words to get thrown out. But, I mean, yeah, I remember seeing, clips back in the day where, coaches were in the ump's face, spitting, like spit flying. And, just like that. They would let them go, kicking dust on them. I mean, God. Everything's just gotten so soft, and I hope that they don't take the lead this season over the teams with all these with the pitch clock and everything that's going to change this year. I think there's going to be some growing pains early for it.
Yeah, I just don't want the focus to be on umps. I want the focus to remain on the players and the talent, and just have a smooth game. I mean, obviously there are going to be bumps and bruises in the road, but ultimately, that's where we are. Quick question before we end this segment, and are we getting any chat or any feedback from the live audience?
We don't have anybody in on this. I kind of just I posted.
Come on, what's wrong with you?
I know I posted it late in the day, but
it's all good.
Come on,
not
guys.
You. I'm talking about the audience. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, guys. We need some love on this. Even if you give us some shit and you don't agree with us, we need some interaction with it.
Start a discourse. I love it. We can debate.
I know. I feel like we get a ton of people when I start talking about Mac McClung, but that's everything else is like nobody gives a fuck about right now. But
It's all right. So we're just starting out. Stay with us. Be loyal, and when we try this, we'll do couple more before we get to that lovable draft that we so desire.
Absolutely, guys. Well, thank you, whoever watches this after the fact. Check
We
it
love
out,
you.
and we'll be back with another one again. We put out content pretty frequently, and we definitely got a big draft party coming up for the Eagles on opening night of draft day. So stick with that and make sure you guys tune in. And we'll be back with another one shortly, guys. Have a good one.
Peace.